are you? In the last class, you studied the different kinds of motion. What are the different kinds of motion you learned? Translatory motion, circular motion, rotatory motion, oscillatory motion, vibratory motion, periodic and non-periodic motion, multiple motion and random motion. Out of these, you studied first four motions: translatory, circular, rotatory and oscillatory. Next we going to study vibratory motion. What is vibratory motion? When an object moves in such a way that a part or parts of the objects move to and fro in a definite pattern while rest of the objects remains fixed and does not move. Its motion is called vibratory motion. It is vibratory motion when an object moves in such a way that a part or part of the objects move to and fro in a definite pattern while rest of the objects remains fixed and does not move. Its motion is called vibratory motion. For example, musical instruments like violin, guitar, only the strings are plucked, the body parts remains fixed. That means a part of the objects move to and fro motion, the other body parts remains fixed. Such a type of motion is called a vibratory motion. An object moves in such a way that a part or parts of the objects move to and fro in a definite pattern while rest of the objects remains fixed. In violin and guitar, only strings are plucked, the body parts remains fixed. That type of motion is called a vibratory motion. The next one is repetitive motion. These repetitive motions are two types. One is periodic motion and another one is non-periodic motion. What are it? Periodic motion and non-periodic motion. What is periodic motion? A motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time is called periodic motion. What is periodic motion? A motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time. Repeats itself at regular intervals of time is called periodic motion. For example, motion of the earth around the sun. Listen, this picture, it's a motion of the earth around the sun. The earth takes 365 1/4 days to complete one revolution. So repeating. Therefore, its motion of the earth around the sun is a type of periodic motion. A motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time. That type of motion is called a periodic motion. The next one is non-periodic motion. A motion that does not repeat itself after regular intervals of time. It's called a non-periodic motion. A motion that does not repeat itself at regular intervals of time is called a non-periodic motion. For example, a ball rolling on the ground. It gradually slows down, finally stops, does not repeat. That type of motion is called a non-periodic motion. The next one is multiple motion. What is multiple motion? When an object shows two or more types of motion at the same time. Two or more types of motion at the same time. Its motion is called multiple motion. Two or more types of motion at the same time. That means another picture, the same picture, the earth revolves around the sun. The earth rotates its own axis. It's called a rotatory motion. And also it revolves around the sun. It's a type of a circular motion. Same time, it has two motions, rotatory motion and circular motion. Motion of a moving bicycle. The wheel of the bicycle rotates. It's rotatory motion. At the same time, the moving bicycle has translatory motion. Same time, it has rotatory motion and also translatory motion. One more example, a ball rolling down on the ground. It has two motions. translatory motion as well as rotatory motion. That type of motion is called a multiple motion. When an object shows two or more types of motion at the same time is called a multiple motion. The last motion, a random motion. What is random motion? When an object or a body shows a particular types of motion that suddenly changes into another kind of motion. An object shows a particular types of motion that suddenly changes into another kind of motion. Such a type of motion is called a random motion. For example, flying mosquito, motion of a flying mosquito. First it's move straight, it's a translatory motion, suddenly it changes its motion. It's a curvy linear motion. Means an object shows a particular types of motion that suddenly changes into another kind of motion. That motion is called a random motion. Here we study vibratory motion, periodic motion, non-periodic motion, multiple motion, random motion. Vibratory motion means an object moves in such a way that a part or part of the objects move to and fro while rest of the objects remains fixed. That type of motion is vibratory motion. Periodic motion, a motion that repeats itself at regular intervals of time. Non-periodic motion, a motion that does not repeat itself at regular intervals of time. Then multiple motion, when an object shows two or more types of motion at the same time. Random motion, when an object shows a particular type of motion that suddenly changes into another kind of motion. That type of motion is called a random motion. All of you clear about this one? Listen a small video for understanding more about the different kinds of motions with the suitable example.
Let's understand different types of motions with examples as we study what is motion. What are different types of motion? For example, these ants are marching in a straight line. Do you see this child sliding down? He is moving in a straight line. The straight line path here is inclined to horizontal at an angle. Let's see more examples. Ball moving up and down in the air. Cars on a road. The toy train on a track. Soldiers marching. They all are straight line motions. Such a motion where an object moves along a straight line is called rectilinear motion. Now look, the little child on the merry-go-round is moving along a circular path. The center point of the merry-go-round remains fixed. The merry-go-round moves around an axis passing through this central point. Now observe the motion of the blades of the fan or the hands of the clock. In both these motions, just as in merry-go-round, an object is moving around a central fixed point or an axis. When an object moves around a fixed point such that its distance from the center remains the same is called a circular motion. Recall that in a circle, the distance of each point along the circumference is same from the center. Now, a question to think about. Out of the different motions we see here, can we identify some motions which seem to be repeating themselves after certain time intervals? The little girl on the swing. Her motion is repeating. The merry-go-round keeps rotating continuously, repeating after every short time interval. Such motions which repeat themselves after regular time intervals are called the periodic motion. A moving clock needle is a wonderful example of periodic and circular motion. Have you ever kicked a football and seen it move on the ground? A football moves neither in an exclusive linear motion nor an exclusive circular motion. So, what is it? Let's look closely. The ink dot point made on the football moves ahead along a straight path. Also, we see that while the football rolls on the surface, the point moves along the circular motion. The football moves ahead with two motions happening simultaneously: rectilinear or straight line motion plus the circular motion about the center of the football. Such a motion is called the rolling motion. So, a rolling motion is a combination of straight line motion and circular motion. Can you think of any other object which undergoes rolling motion? Well, yes. The wheels of a bicycle or any vehicle undergo rolling motion while the vehicle moves forward. Now that we understand about different types of motion, let's study the nature of motion of our Earth. Earth moves around its own axis. That is, it is in circular motion around its own axis. This motion is also known as Earth's rotation. Simultaneously, Earth also moves around the Sun while it rotates about its own axis. This motion is also known as Earth's revolution. Both rotation and revolution of Earth are periodic motions as well. Earth repeats its rotation after every 24 hours. Earth repeats its revolution after every 365 days. What about the motion of the Moon? Moon, like Earth, also does dual motion. It rotates around the Earth, and while the Earth revolves around the Sun, follows it. Wonderful!
Clear all of you? We study the terms rest and motion. These two terms have any relation? Do you think about it? Yes. Listen one example. Suppose you are standing at the bus stop. A bus is coming towards you, then continuously changes its motion. When you are standing at the bus stop, a bus is coming towards you, then continuously changes its motion. Imagine two of your friends are sitting inside the bus. Two of your friends sitting inside the bus. With respect to you or the surroundings, they are in motion. But with respect to the passengers inside the bus, they are at rest. These two terms have any relation? Are they related to each other? Yes. One set of objects, they are in motion. Another set of objects, they are at rest. So, we can say that rest and motion are relating terms. They are related each other. Next is uniform and non-uniform motion. Uniform and non-uniform motion. What is uniform motion? So, an example, a girl. The distance covered by a girl riding a bicycle at a given interval of time along a straight path. It's a serial number. It's a distance covered. Time. First, 0 meter, no, second, 2 meter, 1 second. Third, 4 meter, 1 second. Fourth, 6 meter, 1 second. Fifth, 8 meter, 1 second. What is the distance covered in 1 second? 0. 2 minus 0, it's a 2 meter. 4 minus 2, it's a 2 meter. 6 minus 4, it's a 2 meter. 8 minus 6, it's a 2 meter. That means the girl covers equal distance in equal interval of time. Equal distance in equal interval of time. An object covers equal distance in equal interval of time. Such a type of motion is called uniform motion. The rotation of the earth, hands of the clock, they are having uniform motion. The next, the girls covers distance, time. First 0, then second, 2 meter, 1 second, third, 3 meter, 1 second, fourth, 5 meter, 1 second. That's the distance covered in 1 second. 0, 2 minus 0, it's say 2 meter. 3 minus 2, say 1 meter. 5 minus 3, it's say 2 meter. That means unequal distance in equal interval of time. Unequal distance in equal interval of time. The second case, a girl covers unequal distance in equal interval of time. Such a type of motion is called a non-uniform motion. Such a type of motion is called a non-uniform motion. The revolving around the sun. An object freely falling. It's a type of non-uniform motion. What is uniform and non-uniform motion? An object covers equal distance in equal interval of time. Such a type of motion is called uniform motion. An object covers unequal distance in equal interval of time or equal distance in unequal interval of time. Such a type of motion is called a non-uniform motion. Today we learned about the different kinds of motion such as vibratory motion, periodic and non-periodic motion, multiple motion and random motion. Then next is uniform and non-uniform motion. Write some questions related to the topic. Taking the page number 27, say one question. Differentiate between multiple and random motion. Multiple and random motion. Multiple and random motion. Say page number 27, multiple motion. When an object shows two or more types of motion at the same time, its motion is called multiple motion. Random motion, when an object or a body shows a particular type of motion that suddenly changes into another kind of motion, its motion is called random motion. Next, what is non-uniform motion? Is non-uniform motion. Write two example. Non-uniform motion. Write two example. Say page number 28. When an object or a body covers equal distances in unequal interval of time or unequal distance in equal interval of time, this motion is studied to be non-uniform. Example, an object moving in a circular path or earth revolving around the sun. Copy the notes, read the textbook well and study properly.